Alright guys, it's Copper Cutlass, and I'm out here, got the garage kind of warming up. As I mentioned, um, we're doing a lot of basic work today, just templates. We're knocking out some of the smaller tasks for the coming weeks, or doing the groundwork, doing our templates for floor patches, our firewall. You know, I'm feeling a lot better. I've been sick on and off the last 3 weeks, and I'm just kind of taking a break from all the grinding and all the welding. This weekend, it's still early. Wife and I stayed up late last night watching movies, so kind of nice night. But the whole reason I'm making this video is because somebody asked me for a street combination. I get this question a lot. So I'll be honest with you, I've been spending a lot of time at my machinist place working with him, running machines, which is in its own science and an art. But as far as engine building goes, the combination comes down to what you want out of your car. The requirements are dictated by the use. Like this car started life out as a nice little street strip, like little street machine car, you know, with a 350 that's still in the Pontiac and still runs really good. This car ran like 13.7s and it was like near stock, but the car was fairly light. I had no power steering, you know, drum brakes, 342 gear, 2400 stall converter, turbo 400, a little towing cam, nothing crazy. And it's really hard to, give somebody a specific combination, because that combination might be different. You might have an extra 500 pounds on your car, and that will change how the converter reacts. That's going to change the fuel requirements, the timing requirements. Like, a lot of those things are critical to how good the engine is going to run. Somebody asked me for a combination where they wanted a little bit of performance and they still want to be able to drive it. And my go-to combination at the heart of the combination is the CompCam's 260H cam. It is a outstanding towing cam that works really well. You can run it on lower compression if you're trying to build a kind of a stockish re-ring type deal. In my car, we used a 73 350 short block for the shallow dish pistons, and we had a set of 72 7A heads milled a little bit. We were making somewhere in the area of 8.8 to 1 compression with stock valve tray, non-adjustable. We still had the stock valve springs in it. Stock push rods, probably shouldn't have harmed, but it didn't hurt anything. Edelbrock Performer intake, double roller timing chain, Edelbrock 600 CFM carburetor. It had minimal accessories, no power steering, none of that stuff, no air conditioning. In this car, it was still all steel, minus like the interior. The interior has always been kind of light, just 2 racing buckets, carpet, basics. This car ran a 13.7 through the exhaust with a 373 gear and an X pipe. It ran 13.9s with a 342, but the transmission was a turbo 400 and it had a 2200 stall. The turbo 400 will kill about 20 horsepower over a turbo 350. And it, again, like full length headers, X pipe, hook arrow chamber exhaust. That is, I actually built that engine combination for a friend of mine, Eric, for his 72, and his car was a full street car, interior, power steering, like put the family in the car, let's go get ice cream, but he did take it down the track. and it went, I think, a 1480 something, and I told him, I'm like, if we put my wheels on it, which were lighter, and we did a couple tweaks, get it even faster. And that's pretty good. I mean, these cars stock weren't fast at all. They were like, I think I've seen a stock one go down the track at like 16s. That's a huge improvement over stock. So that is probably my favorite combination to share with people, because you're literally just kind of maximizing the stock stuff, and it's cheap, it's affordable, especially for guys that are in other countries. I've had people from like Germany, Switzerland, Australia ask me questions through the YouTube page. They follow me on Instagram. And it's kind of an honor, because I'm just kind of like a hillbilly from Illinois. And, but we have resources that they don't. You know, Germany is, I love working on German cars, trust me. I work at a VW certified shop, and I work on a lot of German cars, not just Volkswagens, but BMWs. I've worked on Maseratis and stuff like that, which isn't German, but I've worked on a lot of European cars, and I love working on them. They are complex, but it's a good mental test, and how you think is what it comes down to. You got to think like an engineer when you work on those cars. So anyway, so I always get questions on what works, because these guys are limited to parts, and I do a lot of builds where my parts aren't necessarily limited, but I limit what I spend. My limitations are just because of my own way of doing things. So that one combination is, I think, the perfect combination for the guy who's putting together his car for the first time, and he wants to be able to smoke the tires, go to the track and kind of have a baseline. And once you go down the track and have a baseline, it changes your trajectory about what you want to do going down the track. The first time down the track, this car went a 1399, and I had the fastest car out of all my buddies, and they already had their cars for a couple of years. I had just gotten mine done. But it changed the whole trajectory of what I kind of ended up doing with the car, and kind of what it is now, and what it's kind of morphed into. And there is another engine combination that I really, really liked, but this is going to be like a two-part video. So this is part one. The 260H combination is sweet and simple. 8.5 to 8.8 to 1 compression. You can use the stock pistons if they're in good shape, and the cylinder walls and the clearances are good, which there's still engines out there like that. 260H comp cam, good timing chain. You don't need adjustable valve train. I would advise for it though. Edelbrock Performer intake, 600 CFM carb, full length headers, X-pipe, 342 gear, turbo 350, 2200 stall. You'll shred tires. You'll be able to have fun. You're definitely not going to be left behind in traffic. You'll be able to beat most any stock Honda out there, and you're going to have fun. So that's kind of, the combinations are sweet and simple. There's nothing to them. What comes down to it is the little fine tuning and how you set it up. So we'll get part two going here.